Hello, everybody.
Hi, and welcome to the Red Web. I'm your host, Brad West. Of course, Mr. Grip Barrow and Loom from us from Dragon's Lair Comics and Fantasy here in Austin, Texas. Check them out. And Miss Anastasia Anderson, who's going to keep our fact-checking straight and keep us honest. We are back after a nice little summer break, and you're going to be enjoying a new format with us. We're going to be doing 15-minute mini episodes.
Yes.
And this week, our episodes are focused around Natasha Romanoff herself, the Black Widow.
Yeah, Black
Very
Widow.
cool.
Yeah, Black
And
Widow.
I just want to throw something out there really quick. Free Comic Book Day is August 14th this year.
Yes.
So do check with your local comic book shop. I know that Dragon's Lair, because we're in the middle of Texas, and it is super hot here in Texas, especially in August, we're going to be doing a drive-through Free Comic Book Day. So you drive through,
Heck
you don't even
yeah.
get out of your car, because we're really afraid of people being in long lines in this heat. Heat exhaustion, heat stroke is a real thing, and we don't want that to happen.
And last year during the COVID protocols, we did a Free Comic Day very similarly. It was very successful, so we're going to try and follow it again, especially with Austin going into stage 4. Possibly.
Austin is stage 4 right now.
Yeah, it is. It is confirmed. Okay, so.
Yes, it is. It is officially confirmed as of like 2 days ago.
Yeah.
But we will be at the Free Comic Book Day. So drive through, get your comics, come tell us hi.
And speaking of genetic warfare and gassing the public, we're going to talk about spies.
Yay!
Well, also, Pride Parade is happening
Oh, yeah.
August 14th as well.
Oh no, it's the same day.
Yes,
Yeah.
that is right. Yes.
I'm gonna be so tired.
And there's also Hill Country Comic Con.
yes,
There's also...
Yeah, I'm not shaking my booty. Last time I was up there in the Nightwing costume and I was working it, but I'm like, that was like, boy, too much. Not
Yeah.
happening.
Oh my
Nah.
god.
Creeper. You had to come as Creeper.
Yeah, Creeper, yeah, but wow.
I tried to
That
get.
Creeper suit hides nothing.
Yeah.
Nothing.
That's okay. Not a lot of people were hiding anything either. So.
Right.
It just, we're going to be all around town on the 14th, so feel free to find us, say hello.
Indeed. Make sure you're checking us out. And continue looking we will still occasionally be bringing you a Red Web Live every now and then with some special content. We've got some really interesting stuff happening in the fall. We really look forward to seeing you. Don't forget to like and share and get us out there, get people watching. We have a lot to say, and we say it in an awesome way.
Yay!
We're bubbling with personality, and we want very much for you to share that with us. So today's episode, and just a little bit of a warning, is going to have some small spoilers. We figure it's been over a month now by the time this airs to really have a chance to, if you haven't seen Black Widow,
If you haven't seen it,
Thursday and Friday.
It's
Thursday
like
and Friday are the days that we're really going to be going all out and
Yeah.
spoiling and talking about what we think about characters and stuff like that.
but there is
Yeah.
some spoiler warning. So
But right now, today, we're going to be talking about 1960s Black Widow through 1970s.
Yep, from her to it's like from her inception, or first episode's her inception, second episode is to current day, and then we'll talk about the movies and stuff.
And my thoughts on spoilers are my thoughts on the COVID vaccine. If you ain't got it by now, you ain't going to get it, and anything that happens is your fault. We don't feel bad.
Right, it's fine.
So,
All right. So now that we've stalled for time because there isn't a lot of history on Black Widow in the comics.
Well, that's not necessarily true. I mean, her
But-
first appearance was Tales of Suspense, number 52, April 1964.
I gotta back you up. I'm sorry.
Okay.
I gotta back you up just one small bit. Before we get into Natasha Romanoff, there's one small interesting thing to remind you about Black Widow, and she was not the first Black Widow. In fact, in previously to Marvel Comics, becoming Marvel Comics, when it was one of its parent publications, there was a character named, I'm not making this up, Claire Voyant,
Oh, right.
and she was
Yes.
a bounty hunter. She was a bounty hunter for the devil.
Yep.
So, in fact, they even make it a point to bring her back and recanonize her into the main comic book universe and use her to certain degrees. But if you want a little obscure, fun, interesting history about Widow, she was one of the repurposed superhero names. And if you saw us when we were talking about Golden Age, Silver Age on one of our previous episodes, you know that recycling the name of a character and reinterpreting for a new era is a thing, and Black Widow is one of the few that Marvel.
So
actually used.
was that Atlas or was that Timely Comics that
It was one of them. I'm really bad. I can't tell you. It was whichever one that the original Vision and the original Angel were part of. Because it was the one that didn't have Captain America, Namor, and Human Torch.
Okay.
Because after they became Marvel, the Captain America, Namor, Human Torch, the Invaders ended up getting paired up with the other company's World War II heroes. And so they kind of overlap. Like, Blazing Skull's a really cool one from the other ones. That's why you have multiple flaming heroes on that. Human Torch and Blazing Skull, but they merged from the two previous parent companies.
Yeah.
Very cool. But we're mainly talking about Natasha this time.
We're talking about Natasha.
So Natasha's first appearance was Tales of Suspense number 52, April 1964, in the Iron Man story.
In an Iron Man story.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
Which is why, if you notice, her first appearance in the Marvel Cinematic Universe was, of course, in Iron Man 2. And a lot of people at the time were like, why is this random other superhero appearing in Iron Man? Well, because she originally was an Iron Man supporting character. In fact, she was very kind of Catwoman at the time, where she was a femme fatale villain spy, but she also flirted with and had like kind of an attraction to our hero Tony Stark. So,
yeah, she has an interesting little list of people she has dated.
Yes, right.
And Tony Stark was one of them.
Yeah, and you can check out some of those lists online. There's
so many lists.
But her costume was interesting because it was very much a product of its time. It was very similar in fashion to Black Canary or other characters at that time. When you have like the wide domino mask, the dark hair, the fishnets, the long gloves. Again, your femme fatale archetype character. That's Catwoman. Yeah, exactly. So she very much fit into that, and it was some good stories from that. She worked alongside the Crimson Dynamo and other characters. To name a few. Yeah, that comes up later. That comes up later. So, are we still in part one?
We are still in part one.
All right.
So, the first time she wore the black suit,
we
are all like that one up there.
This suit, the black suit, any variation of her costume, her classic costume, most everything from this point on will have some kind of an interpretation based on this look.
The stingers on her wrists.
The stingers, the
belt
suit,
with the hourglass.
Utility boot. Yeah. Not many people realize that the original Black Widow had in black costume. She was trying to become good. She had been turned by Clint Barton, a.k.a. Hawkeye, and she was becoming good. And one of the things she decided to do was she wanted to find a hero to emulate. And, of course, drawing the spider parallel, she's like, oh, there's Spider-Man. Maybe I could be more like Spider-Man. So in Amazing Spider-Man number 86 in 1970, she's basically super stalking Spider-Man.
Okay.
Trying to learn what he's doing, not aware that his powers are natural.
Mm-hmm.
In fact, she even steals a pair of gravity boots, magna boots, some kind of like boots from S.H.I.E.L.D., prototype boots. The original black suit, she was able to stick to walls.
Oh, okay.
She was able to stick to walls. She emulated all of her costume that we know from Spider-Man down to there's a reason that her little bracelets stingers are very much like Spider-Man's web shooters. In fact, it's interesting. You can actually see it in this comic book where she designed the mechanism versus Peter, who has the little triggers here. She's got hooks that go over the back and pull when she makes a fist. So she has a top loading, but it's a spring-loaded grappling hook thing. So
that's a cool idea.
Yeah, so originally she has... you see her use it in the movie.
Yeah,
in the first movie,
Iron Man.
In Iron Man 2, she uses that thing, but in the comic book, she got that from Peter Parker.
Oh, okay.
Spider-Man. So much to the point where she broke into his apartment trying to, like...
Find his gadgets.
Gadgets and stuff like that. So,
but I also think it's kind of funny because, of course, when Spider-Man got the black suit, he did that.
Yes, it was on top. You're right. You're right.
Yeah.
Very much like her. Yeah. That's interesting. Well, I wonder how because you know that the Spider-Man black suit was based on the Julia Carpenter Spider-Woman suit. So I wonder if Julia Carpenter Spider-Woman got that from there. Maybe I don't know.
Maybe. I mean, after a while, it all kind of tends to repeat itself. So.
Yes, it is a snake eating its own tail. We have a lot of that in comic books.
Yes.
But Black Widow's black suit, and we have seen some version of that ever since then. So
okay.
So that is your classic Black Widow.
I think that it's important to note that she didn't just show up in Iron Man, she also showed up in the Daredevil.
Almost, yes, but you're right. Very shortly after this, very shortly after she gets the black suit in Spider-Man, she ends up becoming a key major supporting character in the Daredevil comics. Before she
so much
becomes
so
an actual
that she actually got equal billing with Daredevil,
for a while.
because it was Daredevil and Black Widow.
Oh,
Very
okay.
Comics, yeah.
Great. I don't remember that part. I do remember that's what led to her eventually becoming an actual Avenger.
Yeah.
Okay. Neat.
I want to say she was the 18th Avenger.
18.
18.
I think.
Oh, is there
Out
is
of
there a
the
formal
list of-
list?
Yeah, there's a formal list of in what order.
Was she before or after the whole Champions stories?
She was
Was
part
there-
of
was-
the Champions.
She's part of the
No, there
Champions,
was a list.
but was she on the Avengers before or after she was a champion?
That's a good question. I can't remember. It starts getting fuzzy.
It does start getting fuzzy.
Yeah.
I do know.
'Cause, I mean,
that,
she was all over the place. I mean, she was in Marvel team-ups with Spider-Man,
Well,
obviously.
this is released in the 70s.
Yeah.
She eventually was, like I said, in the 70s. She was part of Champions. For those who are not familiar with the original Champions, there's a new Champions concept, which is basically Teen
And which
Avengers.
is fun.
Yeah, the new Champions is fun, but it's more or less Teen Avengers,
Yeah.
which is not to be confused with Young Avengers. But the original Champions was Bobby Drake, Iceman, convinced Warren Worthington, the Angel, both from the X-Men, that it's like, wait a minute, why are we slumming around with this millionaire Professor X when you're already a millionaire? Why don't we have our own team, and then we can make our own rules? And they go to California and they create this team, and it's composed of Black Widow, Hercules, and Ghost Rider. And Ghost Rider in his second superhero, his first official superhero team, second unofficial superhero team because he was part of the Legion of Monsters before that.
Okay.
So, and the Champions book is my favorite. One of my favorites. I have actually 2 copies of this, by the way. The first appearance of Swarm is in the Champions.
Oh, nice.
And Swarm is one of my favorite supervillains from the old Spider-Man cartoons. And in the cartoon, he's a villain, an alien who takes over, whose consciousness takes over a swarm of bees. But he's not even half as funny as the actual comic book version. Who I love the absurdity of it. Is a Nazi made out of bees.
A Nazi made out of bees.
He's a Nazi
Okay.
made out of bees. Like,
Okay.
literally, Storm, this is one of the earliest straight-up creative for a Black Widow type comic was Swarm, and he became a reoccurring character in various books after that. Swarm, Fritz von Meyer, was conducting experiments on controlling killer bees, African killer bees, and used radiation to boost the power, and they attacked him and ate him and consumed his consciousness, and his consciousness lives on in this swarm of bees around his skeleton. Because it was the only thing they need. So it's a skeleton walking around with bees on it.
Right,
That's
just with
consciousness
bees surrounded by bees.
I always thought it was
It's a
just...
little bit morbid.
It is, but you know what I always thought was such an underused... Because one of the things that frustrates me is they play him for jokes now. They always play him for jokes, mostly because of the Nazi aspect, and we're all cool with that. But the thing, he's actually a really pretty scary, terrifying villain because he can extend his consciousness to other hives. He's only limited to the size of the hive that he's composed of. And if it's kind of like an Ultron thing or whatever. If even one bee survives, it survives with his consciousness, and he can always repopulate from that one bee.
Oh,
So he's
okay.
basically essentially immortal.
Yeah,
comes
you would
back.
really have to, like, decimate
You
all
have
of
to,
them.
yeah, absolutely.
That's
So,
bad.
he's actually a pretty cool villain, and he was from the comic book stories. I think the way that they ended up doing it was Black Widow was immune to the queen bee's pheromone controls. So the men were getting control with it, and she's the one who basically helped defeat it, and was able to convince Hercules to punch the queen into the ocean, and that's how they stopped it. But
Okay.
it's fun stuff. I love it. And comics can be weird.
All right.
Have you heard the new rumor mill about who's in talks to be cast as Hercules?
Ooh.
Oh my god, no, wait, I did hear. Oh god, I
It's
forgot.
like,
it was,
that's
it was last night when we were driving. It was late. I saw.
You want me to say?
Yes, please.
Yeah, please.
Okay, this is not confirmed.
Not
Okay, this is
confirmed,
not
but I
confirmed.
did see this.
But Henry Cavill supposedly is in talks
They-
with
oh,
Marvel to
okay.
be Hercules.
Yes,
You know
that's
what?
right.
I'd be cool with it. No, 'cause
No.
I heard all the whispering, but I didn't hear that was what they were whispering about.
I don't
I'm fine
think.
with that.
I don't think it's gonna happen. Okay, here's just for a little bit.
I
y'all
think
know-
he's too suave to be Hercules.
There's that. I would like to see. He'd have to really play the cheese.
Yeah.
And I've seen him play up cheese. I've seen him do it.
Right, to be fair, I saw him in the Mission Impossible movie that he bungled Justice League for. And yeah, no, I think he can
He
do
can
it.
do it. Well,
He can
okay,
do it.
here's why I think people think that it's Henry Cavill, simply because it is confirmed 100% actual true that Gladiator, Russell Crowe. Russell Crowe is playing Zeus. Russell Crowe is playing Zeus.
Oh, nice.
Okay, this was actually one of the little somebody got outside of their MCU clause and blab. They were filming Thor: Love and Thunder, and because it's in Australia, and Australia has such a long what do they call it? Not incubation, quarantine time before people can come and everything, like that.
Mm-hmm.
They're filming that in Australia.
Right, you did. Yeah.
Well, obviously, Russell Crowe already lives in Australia, so they kind of gave him this role, and because it went so fast with him playing this role of Zeus, he wasn't quite briefed as thoroughly as other MCU actors, so he's doing like an interview in Australia, and he's like, yes, and after this, I'm on my way to Marvel Studios to be filming the role of Zeus. And everybody's like,
just like, shut up.
Shut up. So anyway, yeah, Russell Crowe did this. So yeah, he's playing Zeus, and we're presuming that he's going to fill in the role of Odin in Thor: Love and Thunder for the whole God Butcher thing. So
Okay.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, because
which is why everybody has got it in their head now that Hercules is going to show up, because well, if Zeus is here,
right,
naturally
Hercules
Hercules
has
has to follow.
to.
Yeah.
Because that's how that's worked.
So
Because okay, it's like
I want to see Chris Hemsworth get Henry in a scene with Henry Cavill. I want to see it, and I want to see him get an autograph for his
he's
kid.
the only other person I would have guessed.
Have you seen the thing with his kid? Now they're walking, and his son's wearing the red cape. He's like, "Oh, you Thor like your dad?" He's like, "No, I'm Superman."
Oh, that's great.
Freaking Chris Hemsworth is like, "Who's your favorite superhero?" Superman.
How dare you? It's like, all right. So that's about our time for that one. Do you guys have anything else we need to say?
No, not really.
Yeah.
I mean, we've got
All
plenty
right.
to say with next part, so we'll catch you tomorrow.
Please join in.
Yeah, you guys take care.
Like, follow, listen, share.
All right. Bye-bye.